Oh, hello, and welcome to another fun-filled edition of Adam's Music Box. And today we're talking about Herbie Mann, who, as you can see, was a man's man. Playing that most manly of instruments, the flute, but he made it cool. He made it work. He was someone who was a kind of pioneer in jazz flute because while many saxophonists have traditionally doubled on flute, Herbie Mann was someone who was known primarily as a flutist or flautist, depending on what you want to call it. And he began firmly implanted in the jazz tradition, but he was always someone who incorporated different musical genres and ideas from around the world from very early on, whether it be things like bossa nova, whether it be things like Cuban and other Latin music, whether it be classical music, whether it be rock and roll. So many different styles he incorporated in both his compositions and his arrangements and solos over well-known songs. So much so that by the 70s, he was sort of knee-deep into a combination of really interesting fusiony stuff with great musicians behind him, uh, as well as really interesting covers of some of the most both well-known and unusual, a mix of both songs of the day. And in some ways, I would say that some of his most adventurous albums did come out of the 70s, including the one pictured behind me, Push Push, with its iconic album cover that is not for the faint of heart, but hey, it gets you noticed, and in jazz, that's quite important. Like many musicians of his era, he was very prolific. He put out maybe two, definitely over 100 solo albums. And when you count all of the people that he played with, whether Michel Legrand or Chet Baker, he was really he was really doing so much interesting stuff, including with a band that I really like, a somewhat obscure jazz rock fusion band called Air that had an album that came out in the early 70s that Herbie Mann was very much a part of. He was just a really interesting musician who did things that weren't really that you weren't really expecting. He even did an album called Reggae in the 70s, and he played every different kind of flute imaginable. He was always someone willing to push the boundaries. So don't be scared of the crazy album covers. I think they're great fun. Check out the music. He is an icon of his instrument and of multiple genres. You won't be disappointed. As always, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.